Hi, my name is Angel Cunningham,
And my name's Emily Jarvis.
and today we will be taking you on a virtual grocery store tour. Before heading to the grocery store, it is best to have a plan. Meal and menu planning will help you save a lot of time and a lot of money. Take note of what you have and write down what you need.
While you're making your list before you go to the store, be sure to take note on if you're hungry or not. Sometimes when we're hungry and we go to the store, we make poor decisions about food. We may want chips or cookies or something we didn't necessarily intend to get there. So try to have a healthy snack before you go.
Once you've got your list, it's time to head to the store. Typically, when you come into a grocery store, the first thing you see is the produce section and the Starbucks. But avoid the Starbucks. Let's go to Starbucks. Whenever you're dealing with your produce, it would be best to pick produce that is in season. However, if we cannot find produce that is in season, it's perfectly okay to go to our canned or frozen sections. Also, be sure to check your ads before coming to the grocery store. Pretty much you'll see that they'll have for sale signs all around, which is usually the produce that is in season. However, it never hurts to check your ads. You might find a few more deals. Strawberries have already had the stems removed, but you pay a price for that. These are $15.27. Whereas these strawberries right here, you may have to cut the stems off, but they're $5.98 for about the same amount of strawberries. So that's just something to keep in mind, that you do pay a higher cost for convenience. So I want to talk a little bit about canned foods. There is certainly nothing wrong with choosing canned fruits and vegetables or frozen fruits and vegetables. They are often a way to save money when the fresh fruits and vegetables are not in season, and they're nutritionally equivalent, so they're a great choice. But I do want to point out, especially with fruit, you want to be mindful of what other ingredients are in the can with the fruit. For example, here is a can of pineapple chunks in heavy syrup, and here is a can of pineapple chunks right next to it on the shelf in pineapple juice. And if I flip them around and we look at the labels, you see you have 70 calories in the ones in juice, and the total carbohydrates is 19 grams. Total sugars, 15 grams. And the pineapples in heavy syrup, you've got double the calories. You have 36 grams of carbohydrates versus 19 grams, and you have 33 grams of sugar. So you have more than double the sugar, with 25 grams of that being added sugar that's not naturally in the pineapple already. So you want to be mindful about what your fruit is packed in and make a healthy choice. And if you'll notice, they're the same price, no matter how much added sugar is in them.
next on our list, we're going to talk about canned vegetables. Like Emily said, there ain't no shame in your game when it comes to purchasing canned vegetables. They give us the same nutritional value, and a lot of times they're cheaper than our fresh produce, which may not be in season. So I just wanted to take a quick second here to talk about our name brands versus our store brands. So here you see I have a can of Del Monte. This is about $1.50 per can. And then I have my sweet peas of Kroger brand, which is 85 cents per can. So usually these two sets of peas are created in the same manufacturing company by the same manufacturers, and they slap different tags on the cans. So if you open this can, you're probably gonna have the same product inside. Buy the cheaper can.
Right, so with canned vegetables, you want to be mindful of added salt. So here you have a no added salt can of sweet peas, and here you have the regular sweet peas of the same brand. The regular sweet peas have 380 milligrams of sodium. That is a lot of sodium. And the no salt added sweet peas have only 10 milligrams of sodium. Now, if you feel like they need a little bit more seasoning when you get them home and cook them, you could always add a little bit of salt in a controlled fashion. But with these peas, you can't take the salt away. Here's another affordable way to get produce that may not be in season. You can get frozen vegetables. Here I have some frozen broccoli, and if you'll notice, the ingredients are just broccoli. It's the same thing as fresh broccoli. It's just in a frozen, convenient, and affordable bag. Be mindful of some frozen vegetables that are actually starches, so that means they have a lot of carbs in them. Those are things like potatoes and peas and corn.
So when searching for protein, make sure you look for lean cuts of meat. Typically lean cuts of meat are a little bit more expensive, so search for yourself. For example, here we have one that's 96% lean and 4% fat, and it's on sale for $7.99 a pound. This ground turkey is also on sale for $3.99 a pound. Also, be sure to choose and look for your seafood. The dietary guidelines recommend that we have at least 8 ounces of seafood per week.
So some pre-cut items are definitely more convenient than cutting it yourself, but it does come with a price difference. I want to point out that this whole chicken here is $2.99 per pound, but when it's pre-cut, the price jumps up to $7.99 per pound.
So My Plate recommends that we make half of our grains whole grains. Here I have 2 pastas from the same brand, one enriched, one whole grain. So here you can see, starting with our calories, we already see a difference in our product. So this is our enriched, we have 200 calories per serving, and here with our whole grains, we have 180 calories per serving. Going down, which is very important whenever we're looking at the difference between enriched and whole grains, you can see here our dietary fiber. So we have here in our whole grains 7 grams of dietary fiber, and here in our enriched we have only 3. So you're seeing there already the difference. I'd also like for you to take a little stroll down to our nutrients that we have. So with our whole grains, all of our nutrients that were within this product remain. However, you can see here with our enriched pasta, some of those are removed. Now I will say that there are times in which some of these are added back, but you can already tell between these two that we have a huge difference. So here we have two different sizes of brown rice, and at first glance, the larger box may be a little bit more intimidating. But if you take a closer look, you see that you actually get more bang for your buck. The smaller box has cost about 20 cents per ounce or 21 cents per ounce. And the larger box, about 15. So it'd be best to purchase the larger box.
Here I want to talk about the difference between wheat bread and 100% whole wheat bread. There is a difference. So here we have the wheat bread, and if you'll notice, the very first ingredient here is enriched wheat flour. And over here on our 100% whole wheat bread, the very first ingredient is whole wheat flour. To be 100% whole grain, whole wheat flour needs to be your first ingredient. And if you ever get confused, it's okay. There is this helpful little symbol right here that tells you it's a whole grain product. Instead of whole milk, try something that has less fat in it. You could try 2% reduced fat milk, try 1% milk, or you could try skim milk. All of those will cut down the amount of fat versus drinking whole milk. Here's another example of the convenience fee. Obviously, getting cheese that's already shredded saves a lot of time, but the products are different. This one costs more than the block cheese that you grate yourself. And I want to point out too that they put some extra ingredients in the pre-grated cheese. There are some anti-caking agents in there, a lot of scientific sounding names, whereas the block cheese doesn't have any of those. It is just the cheese. So something to consider when you're considering what type of cheese you want to buy.
So the dietary guidelines and/or MyPlate, of course, recommend that we have about 3 servings of dairy per day. And that can be from your milk, which Emily discussed, our yogurt, or our cheese. I also just wanted to mention here that we make sure that we look for low-fat products. And then sometimes whenever we find our low-fat products, there can be some sneaky added sugars. So just be sure that when we're looking at our labels, we compare maybe a low-fat product to one of the original products and just make sure that our added sugar is comparative. We don't want to have more sugar and less fat if the other would be better.
So here's another example where the name brand and the store brand are likely the same product, and you get the store brand for $1.89 and the name brand for $2.99. So there's a big difference there. And we also need to remember that while these cereals can be very tasty, they do contain a lot of added sugars, so we need to use them sparingly. And a healthier choice to incorporate into your routine may be something like this that says 100% whole grains right on the box.
So here we have our Clif Bars, and then we have our Clif Bar Minis. And we're just gonna take a second and look at the nutrition label, if we can find it. So you can see here on our regular size Clif Bar, we have about 260 calories per serving. And then on our mini, we have about 110 calories per serving. Also on our regular size Clif Bar, we have 11 grams of protein and 19 grams of sugar, with 18 grams of that being from added sugar. On our mini, we have 5 grams of protein and we have 8 grams of total sugar, with 7 grams of that being added sugar. So I don't know about you, but if I was to have a regular size Clif Bar, I would probably still be hungry. So definitely if I had a mini, I would still be hungry. So it'd probably be a better option, if you think about it, to have something instead like peanut butter and some whole wheat crackers. Other helpful snack options may be something like having some granola on some low-fat yogurt. So the fat that's actually in the yogurt helps us with satiety, which basically just means it helps us stay full for longer. We're not those dietitians that are going to tell you that you can never have these things again. It is perfectly okay to have these things, but always be mindful of your serving sizes, especially if you're someone with diabetes or someone that needs to pay close attention to the amount of salt intake that they have daily. So if you're anything like me, you don't drink tap water. I know it's shameful, I should do that, I don't. So you're heading to the store to buy some bottled water. So here you can see we have lots of variety, lots of different waters for lots of different prices. We have our Fiji for $7.99 or $13.99. We have our alkaline water for, if you're getting Simple Truth, 10 for $1. Or here we have Kroger for $1.29. We have our huge bottles, and we have more jugs and other options down here. But I would just like to say, for starters, water is water. Granted, they can add electrolytes and other things. However, we don't need it. So whenever you're coming to the store to purchase your water, it is perfectly fine to simply stop here and get our Kroger brand of water.
So here's a great option if you really like pop. I definitely like the fizziness of pop. That carbonation is just really satisfying. And here's a great option that has no sugar in it. This is just water with a little bit of natural flavoring or essence in it. And you get the same kind of bubbly effect of the pop. And that's a great way to cut sugar.
My name is Angel Cunningham,
And my name's Emily Jarvis.
and today we will be taking you on a virtual Once you've got your list, it's time to head to the store.
Don't forget. Oh my gosh, I have got to get it together. I can't.
Start again. Go.
And the what's
Name
the
brand?
opposite? Name brand.